Hello there, mind shakers.
Welcome to another episode of the Mindshack podcast.
This podcast has been developing and growing beyond our expectations.
And we would like to thank you for your continual support.
That's all. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of the Mindshack podcast. Mindshack is a Generation Z podcast that focuses on discussing societal issues, entrepreneurial leadership, and borders on topics in psychology for Africans. So please check us out on all relevant social media. That's at mind_shack_, particularly Instagram, where you get the latest updates about our podcast. So you can also find us on all podcast platforms, including our newest YouTube channel. And today's episode is kind of an exciting one. Today we're talking 9-to-5 jobs or entrepreneurship for career success in Africa. There's a lot that goes into that. It's a bit of a long name too, but we're going to have a little fun breaking down this topic. So we'll be firstly framing what we're talking about and breaking down and sharing opinions on the topic. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I got my co-hosts with me today. Kwezi, please say hello.
What's good, guys? It's Kwezi. You know the vibes. I'm excited to talk about this.
So as we do, we've always decided to bring on guests in order to break down this topic. These are guests that are learned in a number of topics, but also particularly this topic. So I'll give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. We can start off with Thandazani. Thandazani, just say hello to everyone. You can say a little short blurb on what's going on in your life right now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Thandazani Zulu. I'm from South Africa, and I'm currently doing my BCom honors in entrepreneurship, small business management. I hold a degree in Bachelor of Business Administration, and I own a catering event company called Food by the Gift, where we are basically promoting healthy lifestyle and healthy living to almost everyone. And I'm just so interested about entrepreneurship and skill development, and especially when it comes to sharing those ideas with other young people in different sectors of life as well. So I'm just that kind of person who is always willing to learn and expose myself to different things. And that is one of the reasons why I accepted this invite. And I'm looking forward to learn and share what I already know with everyone today.
Thank you, Thandazani. So yeah, we're really excited to break down this topic with you. In order to do that too, we've got a second guest, Vanessa, with us. Vanessa, if you could do the same.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa Ishimwe. I am in Uganda. I happen to be Rwandan, but living in Uganda, and I am studying business administration at my career university in Uganda, and I'm running 2 businesses right now, 2 of them focused on creating employment opportunities for young people, especially the people in the refugee camps or in the refugee settlements in Uganda. And one is called Youth Initiative for Development in Africa. We focus mostly on education and entrepreneurship training, and the other is called Authentic African Works, and it's focused on providing skills to the youth in arts and crafts and giving them a platform to express themselves through their art and be able to earn a living from that. Yeah, and I am excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about this topic today because entrepreneurship is something that excites me a lot. It's something that I want to do. It's something that I want to speak about. And anytime that I have any chance that I get to inspire another person to join entrepreneurship, I'll grab that. And this is like one of those chances that I get to be able to speak about it, to be able to speak what I think and what I feel about it, and maybe inspire someone somehow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Without further ado, I'm just going to get into the first question of the day. Yeah, I think you both also have in common the fact that you've both grown up in humble beginnings and are basically making a life from that, making a life of yourselves from that. So, Vanessa, I'm going to start with you as you've just ended. Could you tell us about what it was like growing up in a refugee camp in Kayaka, Uganda? We've done our homework a little.
Okay, growing up in a refugee camp, it's at first it was a very difficult experience. Coming from a very, my family in my home country we weren't badly off, like we weren't poor, I should say. and then we come to Uganda, and then we get into a refugee camp, and everything changes. Our money goes, and then we are unable to afford school fees. Sometimes me and my brothers and my sister wouldn't have a meal on our table. We wouldn't be able to. We stopped going to school because we did not have money that is enough to pay for all of us. And with time, we kept going back to school, back and forth, going and coming back and stuff like that. And it was hard. There was so very many problems, so very many needs that I saw around me, and I didn't have an idea how to, solve any of them. And it was just basically generally difficult, but it taught me a lot. It taught me resilience. It made me strong. I grew up, I can say I grew up a strong person, because I managed to grow through all these problems, and then grow out to become a compassionate person for someone else who is still in the problems that I have faced, who is facing the same problems that I have faced. I am strong now because I understand that problems exist, but also I have found a way of getting out of them, and I am finding ways of making sure that my entire family, my community, gets out of such problems.
Genuinely such a powerful story, honestly. Yeah, and that's really part of the big message we're trying to send today. The fact that we're in Africa, and as a result, you can almost put it as we're a step behind to some level, just starting off in life, comparing to first world, second world countries. So people that are born in their environments and really deciding to take up, trying to make a change, not only for themselves or others, are so inspiring. Thandazani, I'm going to shift over to you. What was it like growing up in Mpangeni? How did that shape your worldview? I believe it's a countryside area in general, so outside of the town. So just tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, okay. I really like the part where you emphasized on starting off, because that's just how it goes, especially with us developing countries. I grew up in deep rurals of Mpangeni, Kwisakamthethwa, and I was raised by my grandmother and my mom, very hardworking women. And one thing that I'm always grateful for is that they never told us to do things, but they showed us how to be the women that you are today, or to be the people that you are today. And they showed us by doing different things. And to me, I didn't have another option but to also join in and learn from what they were doing. My grandmother was so much into farming, and my mom was like a dressmaker. So every time when it was the time of growing or selling the crops and everything, that the vegetables, I'll take them to school. And after my mom is done doing her curtains and things like that, I'll take them to school as well. And that's where I actually learned that you have to put in the hard work in order to get something in return. And that's where I actually saw with okay, then you can do business. That's how business was planted in my mind from like primary school. And then after that, to go to the supermarkets, because my grandmother had a supermarket as well. So we had that schedule from a very young age. You knew exactly what you're going to do from this time to this time. We had like a little time for playing and things like that. My friends would come over, see me or check out on me. I didn't have much time to go out and, play too much, but everything was just like I had a schedule on how to do things, and that has taught me so much. Even when I was away from them, when I started my business, when I came to the University of KwaZulu-Natal, when I did my first year, I think it was those teachings that they were planted in my mind and in my life from a very young age, to take care of yourself, to start off from humble beginnings, and to grow something, to nurture something. And that's basically was my childhood and growing up. It was all about, you gotta do something, and whatever your hand finds to do, you must do it with your all might.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask a follow-up question: self-employment versus entrepreneurship. Thandazani, if you could start us off with just framing the two. you're obviously in one space particularly, but there's a slight nuance difference between self-employed and then being an entrepreneur.
With my own understanding, I think I'll touch a lot more on entrepreneurship. Basically, it's about being able to turn the ideas into action. It includes a lot of creativity. It includes a lot of risk taking. It's all about saying, you know what, I'm jumping in this thing. It's basically starting something from scratch, and with whatever resources that you have. It's all about adaptability and hard work. It's all about, if you can look now, the times that we are in, this whole COVID thing going around, an entrepreneur would come up with something and say, okay, we are in this situation. How can we move our businesses into something that is going to suit the situation that you're in? So entrepreneurship pushes you to think outside of the box and think outside of the situation that you're going through with the little or enough resources that you have during that specific time. And I think as you also explained about self-employment, it includes quite different things. You can work for maybe like another company by just providing your services that you are good at, like providing your services that you are trained for. It might not be particularly you starting your own business, but it might be like you growing your own brand or growing yourself as a brand. But also you hear some people saying, I'm self-employed because they're entrepreneurs, because they've started their businesses and they're running their businesses.
The one thing I'll also just like add is the fact that like in the self-employment entrepreneurship space, you fully defined it. Self-employment also is the sense that I feel as though you've been limited for choice. You've ended up self-employment in the sense that you might have not had skills that allowed you to get a job. And so now you're put in a position where you need to somehow make money in order to make ends meet. And then entrepreneurship, on the other hand, is sometimes, quite often, people that have certain skills that could allow them to get jobs, but they've decided to take on some kind of problem in the community. And through their businesses, they've decided to basically take them up themselves. So in that light, Vanessa, I'm going to swing it over to you to kind of just frame as well the way you think of it. Maybe you can touch a little bit of your like personal journey within it. I'd love to hear that.
Well, my take won't be different from what everyone else has said, because I think entrepreneurship is basically what you've just said: finding a need, and then seeing and identifying a need, and then finding a solution to it. How you decide to monetize it and make your enterprise is, it's up to you. But either way, whether for-profit, non-profit, that will be entrepreneurship. And self-employment, I kind of feel like it's similar to entrepreneurship, because in some way, whether you identified the need because you maybe didn't have enough skills to get you employed, or you didn't have the capital to start a business, a big business, because many times entrepreneurship is considered as, having a lot of money. You start with a lot of money, you have a very huge company, and maybe you're employing like 50 people in your company. But entrepreneurship is just identifying the need in a particular situation. It could be even at your place of work. It could be at your place of work where you're employed, but you're able to identify the need in what you're doing, and then you find solutions. Then you're thinking like an entrepreneur. And a self-employed person, whether they are at a very low level, because in many cases, those people whom we are considering self-employed in this particular case, they end up growing their business. Not many of them, but maybe a few of them, also many of them depending on where their locations are. They end up growing their businesses, and when they grow their businesses and they're employing one or two or three more people, I kind of feel like it becomes entrepreneurship. So which means both of them could be kind of like similar.
Right now we're going to a quick break. This break is one to say thank you. Thank you to you, our listener, for your feedback, for engaging with our podcast on our various social media as we work to improve and incorporate it. We urge you to continue to do so as we set sail. Thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed the rest of the episode.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But what I really enjoy about these two answers, first of all, they come from two entrepreneurs and they perfectly fit my next question. So before we even came to this topic, I always like this question of myself: why are entrepreneurs praised? And when it comes to the 9 to 5, it's almost bashed, almost diminished, almost seen as less than.
I've had that and I've seen that quite a lot of times, and we experience it almost every day. If you have been exposed to a 9 to 5 job and you are an entrepreneur, you have more information, more skills, more ways of running your business because you've learned from somewhere. So I'm not that kind of entrepreneur that dashes out the 9 to 5, because I feel like everywhere you go, you learn something. Some people start off as people working for other people, and they learn like different things, and they get exposed to how to run. They make mistakes in those companies first before they can even know how to start and run their businesses. So now they have more full information on how to, maybe if they were in like marketing in that company, now they have more information, now they have more experience before they even go to starting their businesses. So it's not a lie. You always get that people saying, stop working for your own boss and things like that. But to be honest, not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Not everyone have a spirit of persisting, and not everyone can stand the pressure of or the pressure that entrepreneurs go through. And we have to accept that. And not everyone, because we need to balance everything out like perfectly. We also need different professionals. We need people working in different industries, because if we all go into entrepreneurship, then who's going to take care of other sectors? So I feel like it's very important to find your space. People always talk, like if you do something, they'll talk. If you don't do anything, they'll talk. So it's very important to find what really aligns with your passion and what really aligns with what you would like to bring in this world.
And that's even the question I wanted to ask Vanessa. Do you think people don't know how hard it is to be an entrepreneur, or the responsibilities that come with it, the risk that you take?
Well, I personally think everything will be hard if I think nothing is easy, really. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. Working for some boss is not easy. Life in general isn't easy. So you just, someone was saying that you just need to choose your kind of hard. Everything is hard, so you're just going to have to choose your kind of hard. I believe everything has its own challenges, and what I would say is I wouldn't really despise anybody's position, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're being employed, because we all have choices and we all have what works for us. We all have what we feel comfortable with, what we are passionate about, and what we can handle. We're given different gifts, we're given different talents, we are able to do different things. And an employee who works from 9 to 5, I need them. I am an employer, I need them. So if I start despising that, what would I be? I need those people to be there also, to be able to, if they're able to work for themselves also, it's fine. They can work for me for 1 year, maybe, as they're trying to figure out their capital, and then they go and work on something else, and then I get someone else, they get trained, they work with me, and then they go. It is totally fine. That is how we get to develop, when we understand that we all need each other. We need to help each other. The entrepreneur or the person who is being employed, they're equally important. They're equally facing challenges. The only difference I can say maybe is the entrepreneur doesn't they don't have, let's say, a fixed income. If you look at the income, sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad, sometimes it is more challenging than the other time. Sometimes you're almost like winning the jackpot. Sometimes it's very, very bad. While the person who is working from 9 to 5, they know I am going to earn my 1 million and that's it for at the end of the month by doing ABCD chores or ABCD tasks, stuff like that. So I overall think and believe that everyone is important in their space, and all this we need to develop. All this, the entrepreneur and the person who is working maybe for the entrepreneur and planning maybe to be their own entrepreneur in the future, we all need that to succeed, and we need to respect each and everyone's decisions to succeed.
Okay, Vanessa. So I want to bring it back slightly. You run the Youth Initiative for Development in Africa, basically to engage young people in education and entrepreneurship and things like that. Basically, the space that is not necessarily taught in our schooling environments. I think it's an excellent initiative. From what I understand, it's also in the early childhood development space, which I think is such a strong space for like changing Africa for lasting impact. My question for you, Vanessa, is now shifting more into your entrepreneurial position and role within this organization, and basically understanding how well the communities you serve are embracing your programs and why you think they're embracing them.
I would say now I can't quantify it, how well they're embracing our programs, but for every other young person who walks up to me and they're like, I want to be part of this program, or every other testimony that I hear from a young person who has gone through our program and they're like, I thank you very much because this program has changed my life. I was able to come from point A to point B, and with time, I mean, from last year, if you look at where we were as an organization last year and where we are right now, it is completely different. Even despite the fact that we had COVID interrupt the entire world, we managed to still secure support from different people because, the community where we live in and the community that is supporting us, then the whole ecosystem is there rooting for us because what we are showing some impact on the children who come to us without knowing maybe how to speak, or without being able to write, or without being able to speak any word in English, and they leave the school able to express themselves. And a young person who comes to us with maybe a business idea, and then within the 6 months that we train them, they are able to think of an idea and later develop the idea to make sure that they employ themselves and also employ other people, other young people within the community. That alone I look at and I know that we are doing something as an organization.
So why did you decide that space is important? I kind of said on my part, the sustenance of that early childhood educational space. Why did you think that was an important space for you?
I wish I could tell you my the proverb in my language that says a tree is unbent or made straight from the childhood, from its young stage, and I guess that's basically what we focus on. The very young people, if we want to change, if we want to have a lasting change and a change from the very beginning stage of a person or of a country or of a community, then we have to start with the very young people. Early childhood development, I think that's the stage where a child is able to learn. I mean, the first things they learn when they're young, it's hard in most cases for them to forget them. And also I wanted to be in the space of in the education space, particularly in the early childhood development, because it was lacking. There was a need for that in my community. There was a need for that. There weren't so many early childhood development centers. There were so very many children not attending school, and that would affect them for the rest of their entire learning cycle, for the rest of their entire academic journeys. And so we decided we could, fill that gap and teach the kids, give them and hope, and give them hope and for a brighter future, and give them a very good foundation in education, and hope for the success of the community through them and other young people.
Thank you for talking about education. So I wanted to ask you, Thandazani, and since you work with these young women, I wanted to know, what do you think about education to empower them?
I think personally, education has played quite a huge role to me and to the person that I am today. And whenever we host those events, we try by all means to cover everything basically, and trying to give them options and not to like give them only one thing to believe that it could work for them. I'm that entrepreneur who believes that education is very important, and what you learn, like most of the things that we learn maybe in school or different institutions, can also assist you to be a better person. So we try to provide different people coming from different universities as well, speaking about different opportunities that our young women and also young men, because it differs with the events that we host. So we try to include both. So we do invite also lecturers from different universities and try to give our young girls and men talk around education and the importance of education, and believing that education is one of the keys that we can use to change the world. I remember growing up, I was that young girl. I used to have a conversation with myself going to school, because like we walked to school since I was like from deep in the rurals, from a very, very young age, like primary school. I used to have those conversations with myself. I'd look around and say, I'd like to be the change, and I'd like to learn and expose myself to different things. And education has definitely been one of the things that has helped me so much, because running the business and people like getting invited to different places and they're like, oh wow, she's also studying this and that, and she's also running a business, and that will also inspire other young people that education is indeed important, and what like the different skills that no one can teach you outside of school. Like you grab all of that information and try to put it out there. And with that mindset of saying, I want to be the change that I want to see, I've always been in a position of trying to empower myself. And I've been so fortunate to be exposed to other women who are willing to empower me. That is why I host those August events and say, empowered women empower women. We're looking at all sectors, and we look at education as well, because we believe that not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Other people are academia, like by nature, and we need their information, we need their knowledge in order to tackle some different social issues or other economical issues and political issues, like different issues that we face in the world. We're also trying to make sure that our young brothers and sisters coming behind us are also benefiting from what we've learned, and people that are not privileged enough to be given those opportunities such as education, things like that.
Thank you. That's all I can really say at this point. You guys have shared so many interesting views. To you, Thandazani, speaking of your experience, I think, your experience within the sort of events and the restaurant space, your business, and how also the projects you're working on are impacting women. Vanessa, on your end, tackling it from the root, basically, and trying to see how there's like long-term change that can be made to the learning things that are outside of the school environment. So guys, I will say again, thank you very much for joining us for this episode. To anyone that's listening right now, thank you so much for listening. If you've reached the end, we really appreciate it. This was episode 6 on 9 to 5 jobs and entrepreneurship for career success in Africa.
Wow, you listened through to the end? Thank you.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at mind_shack_.
And if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform or all of them.
There's going to be more exciting episodes to come.
So, see you on the next one.